So long as gambling is concerned, it is a rule of thumb that the casinos never really lose. Although people have big wins occasionally, the casino always makes gains. These gains come in the many losses that have to take place for the occasional big wins. The casino always winning might be the norm. Someone challenged this norm in the 1990s. Now at this point you must be wondering what exactly happened. Well, if I were in your shoes, I would be curious also. A couple of decades ago, some students went against the unspoken rule, which stated that the casino had to win. These students were from MIT and were known as the MIT Blackjack Team. The MIT Blackjack Team might be famous in the casino world. However, they did not exist alone. They worked with an expert at blackjack known as Bill Kaplan. Before we go on with the MIT students' exploits, let's get to know Bill Kaplan a little. Contrary to what you might be anticipating, Bill Kaplan did not go to MIT. He finished at Harvard. However, before going into Harvard, Kaplan decided to make a fortune from gambling. He had read a book that shed light on card counting. After reading this book, Kaplan believed he could make a lot of money at blackjack to the detriment of whatever casino he was going to play in. He felt this because he came across a mathematical model he thought could work. Well, he was right, as the mathematical model actually worked. Kaplan was a straight-A student, and his mother did not think gambling was best for him. However, his stepfather kept an open mind and decided Kaplan could try his luck with the casinos if he could win him in a blackjack game. Kaplan accepted his stepfather's challenge and played him in a game of blackjack for 2 weeks. While at this game, he won every single time. This made his stepfather let him try out his formula in the casino. With permission from his parents, Kaplan spent 12 months in Vegas. He arrived in Vegas with $1,000 and converted this amount into $35,000 in 9 months. That was definitely impressive. After this big win, he attended Harvard. Once he was done with Harvard, he continued playing blackjack in casinos in different parts of the world. Kaplan's life was that of everyone, until he came across the head of some MIT students that had the idea of card counting, but needed to meet someone with more experience. With their request, he trained his group of students and became the world-famous MIT Blackjack Team manager. Kaplan and his new partners had struck gold. However, they were far from being really big. They became a force to be reckoned with in the casino industry when new large casinos came into the scene. Many people had seen Kaplan's formula yield a 100% gain in various casinos, and knew setting up a formal structure was a way to take advantage of the growth of these new casinos. Therefore, they rallied around and raised $1 million, with which they founded a company called Strategic Investments. This company was about teaching brilliant students the art of counting cards and letting them go into casinos to make a profit. A lot of students were involved in the move from the start. Prominent among them was 22-year-old Mike Aponte, who had no idea what he wanted to do with his life. Due to his high IQ, Aponte was able to master the card counting technique in a short time. After learning this technique, he got the shocker of his life. He received $40,000 in cash and was told to go to the casino to gamble. Although getting $40,000 was shocking, even more shocking was the fact that he lost $10,000 in the initial 10 minutes of gambling. After his loss, he was greeted by the executive of the casino. This executive took him to a penthouse suite, which had a pool table and a jacuzzi. While he found the room awesome, he was yet to come over his loss. While it appeared the team's technique was not effective initially, he stuck to it and ended up with a profit of $25,000. This is a norm for casino hosts, to identify high rollers and give them rewards, such as rooms, tickets, drinks, and food. This was regardless of if they won or lost. This lifestyle is one big executives in multi-million-dollar firms are used to. On the other hand, students can only dream of this lifestyle at least 2 decades after school. After being at this game for a while, students that were used to sleeping in the dormitory and going to class started enjoying the lives of VIPs. If you have ever tasted the life of a VIP, you can attest that it is a cool way to live. However, you will really need to look like a VIP to be treated like one. Since these guys were students, a good number of them struggled to look the part. I would struggle if I was in their shoes. I bet you would too. Before finally settling down to win big sums, the students had to get used to being sized up. This is because the casino had to see them like people who were really ready to spend. If you have been to MIT or know anyone that has, you surely know that being good at math is like second nature. It is not a challenge. So the challenge for the MIT students was being comfortable with the attention they attracted. These kids had to deal with lots of attention, as money will always get people's attention. One of these MIT students, Aponte, was an Asian, so he was basically seen as a spoiled Asian kid from a rich home. Therefore, it was easy to believe that he had a lot of money to spend. Since the team of MIT students was used to winning, it felt all was perfect until one of them left a huge sum in class. This was $125,000 to be precise. He put a call across to Kaplan by 6 in the morning to explain what had happened. Apparently, a cleaner had seen this money and had kept it in a drawer. Although this money was recovered, it took a long 6 months and an in-depth scrutiny by the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Administration before it was retrieved. Just like every other good deal, this partnership between Kaplan and the students from MIT was not meant to last forever. Although it lasted the test of time, things began to get bad. Lots of players were being identified in various casinos and were not allowed to play. Some were politely asked to back down, while others were arrested by the police and put in detention. It actually felt like this partnership was going to last forever. However, the various casinos that suspected something was wrong employed the services of private detectives. One of these private detectives was able to get the Boston address of many of these students, which made him realize they were MIT students. That's not all. He went as far as getting a yearbook, as well as a couple of their pictures. Since a lot of the students were being caught, it became a source of concern for them as they played in various casinos around the world. A lot of these students were caught with time, and a good number of them gave up gambling or at least playing blackjack. Some of them did not want to give up this life that seemed too good to be true. After being caught, one of the many gamers stopped playing and began working as a spotter. He simply counted cards and gave the signal to a partner that placed the bets when everything seemed perfect. To fit into his new position, he had to alter his appearance. He cut his hair, dressed like a woman, and even put on a wig. Since he successfully altered his identity, he lasted more than his colleagues in this game. Strategic investment was not going to go on forever, and soon everyone had to go their way. This firm was closed in December 1993. The end of this firm also signaled Kaplan's career with blackjack was over.